Can you hear me now? If you can hear if you can hear me now, put it in the chat. So let me know if you can hear me. I see that my microphone is working. It wasn't working at first, and that's weird. Because okay, let me know if you can hear me. Thank you, Jacqueline Rogers. So let me start all over again. Now. Okay, great. It's always something, right? Techie, techie. So, okay, Renita, thank you. I thank you, Maxine. Thank you. So let me start all over again. My guest tonight was supposed to be Victor Giusfredi. However, he had something personal that came up at the last minute. And so, what we're hoping is that everything will be okay. And that's saying that the show must go on. The show is going on. The show must go on. So today, what I decided to do, since Mother's Day is coming up, is to talk about mothers and sons. So I start over again. So today's episode is called Bonded by Love: How Mothers and Sons Support Each Other. And we're going to dive into this relationship between mothers and sons because we talk about mothers and daughters. And most of you know I am a mother, adult daughter, aging mother relationship coach. That is my passion. But sometimes we even talk about fathers and sons. But mothers and sons, but that connection is deep, is formative, and is often under celebrated. So we're going to talk about it. Whether you are a mother, a son, or someone reflecting on this dynamic, I invite you to take this journey with me today. So let's start at the beginning. The emotional foundation of the mother-son relationship really begins in the womb. Because when your son is in your womb, he hears everything. He feels things. He can even get indigestion when you get indigestion. So when that son is in your tummy and you feel that kick, maybe he's kicking you, trying to tell you something, trying to tell you he doesn't like the music or whatever. Also in infancy, that's when he feels that nurturing, that touch, your tone of voice, and your trust. So for many sons, a mother is the first experience of safety, of being fully seen and unconditionally loved. I remember a story from a person, a guy, who said to me, even when the world rejected me, my mom made me feel like I belong. So when you think about that kind of support, that lays the groundwork for emotional resilience. So ask yourself, when did you feel most supported by your mother or your son? What did that moment do to your heart? Just to say this, a mother's hug lasts long after she lets go. So let's talk about mutual respect and growth. As your son grows, of course, the dynamic changes. They begin to seek independence and autonomy. And mothers often have to transition from protector to guide. Respect. Respect becomes the anchor. As moms, we have to learn to respect our sons as individuals with different views and dreams. So we might have a dream like, okay, I want my son to grow up to be this or be that or do this or do that. Maybe not. Maybe that's not what they want to do. So some sons respect their mothers as full complex people. not just as caregivers when they start getting older. They have to look at us with identities, with struggles, and they often seek our wisdom. So, this mutual respect turns the relationship from dependency to partnership. So, just for a moment, I want you to think of one lesson, moms, that you learned from your son that changed you. Or if there are some sons listening, what's the one lesson that you learned from your mom that changed you? Anything in the chat? Let me check and see. Okay, not yet. Now, I know a couple of you on here, at least one has a son. So that I can see in the chat. So if there was a lesson that your son taught you that changed you, put it in the chat so I can see it. So we all can see it. Okay, now when you think about it, if it changed you, that's respect. That's respect in action. Now let's talk about communication. I always talk about communication because to me, that's the most important thing in relationships. Communication is the bridge. Communication is everything. And it's not about just talking. It's about listening and understanding. So now I think most sons, especially in the African American culture, they grow up and they're discouraged from emotional expression. In other words, don't cry in public, don't show that you're really worried. Uh, just a lot of deep emotions, and it's not just in our culture, my culture, it's in other cultures also. But mothers, we have always been a place where emotions could land softly. And as mothers, what we should do is listen without judgment, and ask questions that are open questions rather than a closed question. And this is a gift that you can give to your son. It's kind of hard sometimes, when we're listening and we're judging. And if there's some sons listening, expressing your emotion does not make you weak. And moms, you have to tell your son that expressing your emotions don't make you weak. Between mothers and sons, it strengthens the relationship. And there is a quote that I'm going to read to you. Let this be a reminder. What goes unsaid builds walls. What's said with love builds bridges. Something to think about. Something to think about. So now let's talk about encouragement and empowerment. So support isn't just emotional. It's practical. It's vocal. It's visible. Renita, I'm using my favorite word. I give you permission to write them down, but don't put it in chat. Mothers, when you affirm your son's gifts, when you say, I believe in you, you plant seeds of confidence. Sons, if you're watching, when you acknowledge your mother's sacrifices, her wisdom, and her courage, you offer her strength and healing. I know a grown son, who took his mother on a trip. And she always dreamed about this trip, but she could never afford it. And what he told me, he said, you know what? She spent her life giving to me. And I just wanted to give back to her. I wanted to give her a memory. So I think about trips that I went on with my son. We went to Colorado together, and some other trips that we went on. And we had such a good time because it was, we were more like, I would say, friends in a sense, because I try not to be mother and say, tell you, well, you should do this, you should do that, you should do the other. But you know what? When I have well, for a while, when he grew from a teenager to an adult, I had a little trouble kind of letting go. I was still a mother, but every now and then, um, and he is almost a senior citizen now, according to AARP. Every now and then, I forget, and I go into that mother. You should do this. Well, I don't know why you haven't done this. Well, are you this? Well, are you that? And I have to okay, stop it. Stop it. Whatever it is, whatever decisions he's making, even though I'm looking like, what? I try to step back. I try to encourage him. And as moms, we have to step back, because when we step back, that empowers them. So now what about support through life's transitions? Time shift, because sons become fathers, mothers age, and changes come about. But the support that you would give to your son, it doesn't stop, but it changes, it transforms. Sometimes sons end up having to support their moms or care for their moms, helping them to navigate loneliness or illness. I had a friend whose mom, he was the only son, and there was no father in the home. And he ended up being a caregiver for his mother. And we saw that love and that care, because she was not only suffering from dementia, but she was also suffering from an illness. And he really practically gave up. Well, he wasn't married. He gave up his social life to a point, because he had to take care of his mom. And as mothers, we see that, we look at that, and we think we don't want that to ever happen. But it does happen. So when you think about it, what seed are you planting with your son? Are you planting that seed where, as someone told me, that he felt that his mom always said to him or put on him that, well, I know you're going to take care of me, because I've been taking care of you. And if something happens to me, but you don't want them to feel that it's something that they have to do according to how you feel, but you want them to feel it in here, that they want to do this out of love. So think about that. And what I want to do is go back a little bit, and that I'm not there yet as far as having someone to take care of me. Hopefully that won't be for another maybe 30 years if that does happen. But I wanted to go back to being a mom with a son. If you're a single mom, or, when I say single mom, either you had the child by yourself or there was a father in the home and the father is gone. What do you do when they ask you these questions? What do you do when they go from child to teenage? What do you do? What do you do? I was in that situation. Like, certain things were happening to him and his body, and I thought, oh, but he came to me, and I said what I had to say I would say in an encouraging way, not as a mother son, meaning looking down or anything like that. But anyway, what do you say? So, what are you planting as far as your son is concerned? Now, I kind of regressed a little bit, but I was talking about support through life transitions. And I talked about shifting roles. Mothers can become mentors to their sons as they face marriage, careers, or raising children. And when I say mentors, I mean being there for support, not giving advice when they haven't asked for your advice. Of course, if they ask for your advice, yes, but refrain yourself if you can. And don't give advice unless it's asked for. Because when it's asked for, then it is appreciated. So this often involves that support system that you have or can have with your son. And it's a testament to how deep the bond runs. So think about it when your son is getting ready to get married and he asks you questions. Give that answer what you really think. Be authentic. Don't say what you think he or she wants. He wants to hear. But as far as careers, as far as raising children, be authentic when they ask you for your advice. So think about this. This is not a long show today, but think about the emotions. Emotions support and lays the foundation for your relationship with your son. Respect. Have some respect, because respect nurtures growth. Communication builds bridges. And when I say communication, I don't mean just talking, like I said. I mean listening, and not listening to respond, because it's the difference in listening, really listening, and listening to respond. And when I say listening to respond, I mean sometimes we are so quick to just jump to respond to something that they're saying, and in the end, there can be a misunderstanding, and that's something that you do not want. Okay. And encouragement. Encouragement fuels confidence. Encourage your sons. If they have something that they really feel is that they really want to do, encourage your sons. Okay, so I had a buzz on my phone, so a text came in. Okay. This text says, I am a mama's boy, and my mama was special to me. She was my greatest cheerleader. And that's what you want to hear. That was a comment. I thought it was a question, but that was a comment. And probably if my son was able to watch this evening, he would probably say the same thing because I think he is probably a mama's boy. However, I do give him space. I try not to be what they call a helicopter mother. So tell me, if you have a son, or if you are a son, tell me, put something in the chat. Do you have a question about raising a son? If you are a son, do you have a question about your mom? Do you have advice that you'd like to give our viewers about raising a son? I don't know everything, but I have raised a son. And I am very, very, very proud of my son. Never gave me any problems. Of course, those teenage years were a little rough, but as time has gone on, for me to see him transitioning from a teenager to going to college, to having a career, that I feel that I have always given him support and encouragement. Support and encouragement, even when I disagreed with his decisions, I still gave him that support and encouragement. So I'm going to take a quick, very, very quick commercial. And if you have something that you would like to offer or you have a question, please give me what your thoughts are, what your questions might be. So we'll be right back. And even though we're talking about mothers and sons, I'm going to do a quick commercial about mothers and daughters. Be right back. All righty. So I am writing a book now about the relationship between mothers and sons. So now while I was gone, I did have a question to come in here. And the question is, what happens when your son enters puberty and those uncomfortable questions come up? Ooh, I tell you what I can't do. I can't say what I did because he might be watching it. If he doesn't watch uh, live and he watches the recording, I can't say. But the uncomfortable questions did come up and I had to answer them. And uncomfortable. The thing was, it wasn't uncomfortable for him, but it was uncomfortable for me. So now, this is what I want to know. I know there's someone here. If she is still here, she has a son. And I want to know, what did you do? Or if you know someone, or if you're a son, what happened? How did your mother respond when those uncomfortable questions came up? So I'm waiting for a son to respond. I can look at the top of my screen, not in the chat, but I can look at the top of my screen and see that there is someone here who is a son. So if you don't want to put it in the chat, you know that my number is available for you to text. And I would love to know when you went into puberty as a son and you had to tell your mom or you had to ask a question. How did you go about doing that? Did you feel uncomfortable? And what did your mother say? I remember, well, one I can say is going and buying, taking him with me to buy a razor blade or shaver because he started growing, mustache and beard. And so that he could shave. That one I remember. Okay, here's something that came in. Oh, okay. This son says, my mother and father were divorced, and my mother deferred certain things to my uncle. Okay, that was good. That was good. So now, if you would, if you know a mom or a son who you feel can benefit from this particular episode, it will be on YouTube, E360 TV, Limitless TV, Amazon, Twitch, Apple, Spotify. Have them to either listen to this or watch the video. So remember what the key takeaways are. Number one, emotional support lays the foundation. Number two, respect, mutual respect nurtures growth. Number three, communication builds bridges. Find out what your son is thinking, what he wants to talk to you about. Encouragement fuels confidence, and support evolves with life. So I challenge you today to reach out. Sons, call your mother. Moms, call your sons. They would appreciate it, especially moms. Your moms would definitely appreciate it. Now remember, Mother's Day is coming up soon. And what are you going to do, sons, for your mom? So, sons, text your mom or call your mom and say, thank you, mom. Moms, text your sons or call your sons and say, thank you. I see you. I believe in you. Because no matter how far life takes us, the heart always remembers where it was first held. So I want to thank you for viewing or listening today. Thank you for turning into Relationship Matters TV. If this episode touched you, share it with someone who you think needs to hear it. So until next time, it's Dr. Jan Fortman with Relationship Matters TV. Uh-oh, it's my son. He says, I'm going to call your house phone and interrupt the show. LOL. Okay, we have a very good relationship. And Kevin, don't call the show. Don't call on my house phone. But one thing I want to say before I go, we do have a special connection, and we do have something that we both love together, and that is this. Yes, we are both Prince fans, and we both commemorate his birthday. Okay, so another question comes in. I'm getting ready to go, right? No woman wants to think about raising a boy on their own. Prepare in advance, even if you are married. Because they're 50% divorce rate. Yes, that's very true. Thank you very much for that text. So anyway, yes. Hello. Hi, Mom. Yes, I got it. Thank you, Mr. Kevin, for tuning in. I appreciate it. Thank you for your love and your support. So I will see you all again next week on Relationship Matters TV. I hope that you really received some value from this episode. And we want to send our thoughts out and our prayers out to Victor Giusfredi, who could not be here today as my guest because of some personal matters. But I will see you again next week on Relationship Matters TV. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And I want you to remember, there are all kinds of relationships, all kinds of relationship matters, and life is about relationship. See you again next week. Bye-bye.